G'day, Big Al story, back with another story that I'm not going to write out. I'm going to say it out, and hopefully I can get it out of me and I don't have to write it down. So I don't know what the story's called. I thought of it up this morning and I'm not even sure what it's about, but here we go. So there's a young lady, she's about 25, and her name is Sally. And Sally does administrative work in like high-end sort of corporate offices, and each time she gets a new job, she works throughout a year, she gets to a new, goes up a step and goes into like more and more bigger scale companies. And this company that she's going for a job interview at has a really odd name, and it's called like Indar, like I-N-D-A-R. And she's like, I keep seeing it around everywhere. I know that it's a big company, and my friend said, yeah, go for it. And so she's like, okay. So she finds herself in this interview room. There's 3 women, nicely dressed, asking her questions. And then there's a guy who Sally assumes is the boss, like sitting to one side. And she's pretty nervous, as you are. People usually are nervous in interviews. She's quite nervous, but another layer on top of her nervousness is the fact that she doesn't actually know what this company does. So she's like answering questions like a little bit trepidatiously, but she's like, yeah, and she thinks she's going pretty well because she's pretty good at interviews, generally speaking. And she gets closer to the end of it, and they say, and the women, one of the women says, is there anything you'd like to ask us? And Sally has a good vibe, like she feels there's a good vibe in the room. She's like, yeah, but she's like, do I want to wreck this good vibe with asking him what the hell this company actually does? And she goes, fuck it, I'm going to ask her. She goes, yeah, and she says it very polite. She says, yeah, I really, I really like the company, but can I just ask, what does this company do? And then like the answer that the main lady gives is something like community engagement, and just like something that doesn't answer it. And she's like, oh, okay. And then the guy who's in the corner, who she assumed was the boss, who's also pretty quiet, says, it's for me to know and for you to find out. And then as he says that, it's like very ominous sort of sound, and then as it cuts the energy of the room. So then the women are like not like groaning, like, ugh, but almost. And they're like, yeah, that's for you to know, for him to know, for you to find out. Okay, cool. And then, so she gets the call, Sally does, that yes, she does have the job. Like about a week later, she's like, yes, but I still don't know what this company does. I've seen their logo everywhere, whatever. And then she gets into the job, and she doesn't have to know. She just has to answer the phone and like direct people to people that are on her list and stuff. And then she finally works out, she's like, oh, so this is a marketing company. She's like, okay, cool. So marketing, Indar marketing. I don't even know why. I don't know how Indar says anything about marketing. It's not a very good marketing ploy if people don't know what it is. And then she's like, well, maybe that's how it works. Maybe that's why it's so good, because people don't know. And this car is getting very hot at the moment. I'm going to open the door. Open the door. That's better. I'm going to keep it open too. And so she's a few weeks into the job, and she's noticed something about the boss. She was correct. The guy is the boss. And he's got like a very strong energy, like as a lot of leaders do, but he doesn't say much, and doesn't matter what she asks him or anybody else. Doesn't matter what she asks him, he pretty much just responds with, well, that's for me to know and for you to find out. And like, he's still like, it's quite obvious that he could say more than that, but that's pretty much all he ever says. And depending on where he puts the pause in it and what tone he says it with, and who he's looking at when he says it, and if he's laughing or he has a serious tone, like he actually is quite good at communicating, but he only ever says, it's for me to know and for you to find out. And she's a bit annoyed, and he's obviously a competent leader. And Sally assumes that there's meetings that he's in where he actually does say things, but she's never actually heard him say anything, not much more than that. It's for me to know and for you to find out. And then, yeah, so it keeps going on. That she just keeps working there, and she realizes that people sort of put up with it. They're like, oh, yeah, that's Tony saying for me to know, for you to find out. Cool. But he still has respect within the company. And then one day, there's a bit of a tone running through the office. She works in one of the big offices in the middle of the city, and then Tony comes in and he's like happier than usual. And then like one of the main ladies says, "What, you know," in front of everyone, like, what's up?" And he's like, and they're all expecting him to say, "It's for me to know, for you to find out." But he doesn't say that. He's like, he's just excited, like a little boy. He's like, "I've just been asked to run for a local seat, and I'm gonna take it." Like, you know, the deal they've sort of, the conversation we had, I'm going to take it. I think I can do this. And then, so like, yeah, not that they use too much of the resources and time of the business, but they use a bit of it, and they brainstorm a bit of stuff. And then, I've forgotten this, I've told this story once this morning. Anyway, yeah, so he starts that, and he goes for a couple of weeks, and he basically gets into the job of like running for the campaign, and his marketing team on the other end, like not his marketing team at Indar, they're like, "Oh, what's going to be your catchphrase, and like what's your, you know, what's the spearhead of what you're going to say?" And he can't just say, "It's for me to, you know, for you to find out," but he comes up with some ideas, and like nothing really works. And they're like, and it's the first time in his career where people have gone like, "Well, that's not going to work." And the reason Sally knows it, and Sally can just see it in the way that when he comes back to the office, and just a little bit of conversation she hears through him and those three women and office ladies, like Sally, tend to sort of pick up a bit of what's actually going on, and she figures out that it's not working for him because he's not saying anything more than, "It's for me to know and for you to find out." And then I forgot what happened. And then yeah, so he basically like stops his campaign. Like he goes away for a week and then really tries hard at it. He comes back, and then he's back in, he's got his good vibe on again, and he's like, you know, interacting with people with his very short sentences. And then Sally, they're in another meeting, and then Sally's like, she's just learnt this ability just to speak up in meetings, and she says, "Why are you so happy, Tony, and why are you back?" And he says, "Well, that's for me to know and for you to find out." And that's the end of the story. I think there was a little bit more of a punchline when I first told it. But basically, yeah, he doesn't make it in politics, and he gets back to his job. Yeah. I'm not going to retell that one again. There's more to that story. Yeah, anyway, my name is Big Al Story, and that story is out of me enough for me to move on to the next one. And if you would like to hear more of my stories, I'm on Facebook and YouTube, Big Al Story, all lowercase, Facebook, YouTube. And most of my stories have like not masculine themes, but like they're about masculine things. That one, you know, I think there's like some tension between the main masculine character and those three women and Sally. There's a bit of tension there, a bit of a masculine theme. But yeah, a lot of my other stories are more about masculine things, and I do a lot of men's work. So if you want to see some of the work I do, jump onto Alan Saunderson on Facebook and see what I do there. See if you want to get involved. And yeah, that's my story. I'm sitting here thinking there's more of a punchline. I think what it is I should, if I was to write that story out, I would keep the fact that Indar is a marketing company. I would keep the tension of that for longer. So she's working there for like at least 2 weeks until she and then that can be more of the punchline, is that she finds out that it's marketing. And yeah, there was when I told it to my friend Kirsty this morning, and there was a really good punchline in the end, and it obviously was. Anyway, thanks for listening. Next story.